Hey everybody, this is Eddy Dacius. We're here with another episode. We have a wonderful guest. Her name is Kerline Hilaire, and she will definitely talk about herself. Before this episode is brought to you by Eat Core. Eat Core is the fitness program you need to follow.
Now is the time to hop into the hottest 45-minute group fitness class around. Give us a try absolutely free with our free 3-day pass. Get a great workout and have fun at the same time. Whether an athlete or someone looking to shed a few pounds, HIIT core workouts keep you motivated and part of an awesome community, all in under 45 minutes. See you at the gym.
Yes, if you want to lose some weight, if you want to look great, Eco Fitness Program should be your option. And we have Dacius Facility Management, which sponsored this program and this episode. Let's go with Dacius Facility Management.
Do you want to maximize the value of your commercial property and achieve optimal productivity and efficiency in your day-to-day business operations? That's where Dacius Facilities Management can help. DFM offers Boston area businesses help in key areas like building and preventive maintenance, handyman services, project and vendor management, and even security consulting at competitive rates. Call Dacius Facilities Management now at 617-237-0106 or visit daciusfm.com today.
Yes, the Dacius FM should be your option if you want to manage your property the right way. So, like promised, we have a wonderful guest. Her name is Kerline Hilaire, and she has a Bachelor of Business Management and concentrate in finance at University of Massachusetts of Boston, and she recently earned DEI certification from Bentley University. So, Kerline, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Excited for this episode because I have a lot of questions for you, and I know you're gonna dive deep into this podcast. So let's introduce the show. This is Divine Purpose Podcast with Kerline with us today.
Welcome to the Divine Purpose Podcast, where we transport you along one of the more dynamic journeys of life. Have you ever been curious to know what it takes to become a successful leader? Or about knowing the secrets of life through the Bible? How about engaging in conversation where no topics are off limits? We will take you to new levels with guests who can help you grasp the importance of your calling. Now, here's your host, Eddy Dacius, founder of Dacius Facilities Management.
Yes, excited to have Kerline with us. Kerline, she has 7 years experience, and she used to work as an executive assistant, where she felt that she was missing something. But those are my words, and I think we're gonna give Kerline the mic and the place, so she can talk about her career. So one question we usually ask our guests: what can you tell us about you today?
Yeah, so like Eddie had mentioned, my name is Kerline Hilaire. There's a lot to say about me, but I would just start briefly where I am in a DE&I space. And so a lot of times people say, what is DE&I? And I'm just learning as I go. There's just so
Okay.
much component to it. I am a full-time worker. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. And I also have a ministry that I run as well with one of my best friends. And so there's so many hats that I wear on a daily basis. And so you'll learn so much more about me throughout this podcast.
And that's great to hear. And we like to make sure we go deep into our conversation. One question I will ask you: what are the three most challenging events in your life, and how do they challenge you?
I would say just being able to the first challenge, I would say to balance being a full-time mom, a
Mm,
full-time 9 to 5 worker, and being
wow.
able to, that's just really challenging at times because You want to be there for your daughter, you want to be there for your kids, of course, but you also have a full-time job. So finding that balance sometimes is challenging. But I feel like I found a better routine of the weekends, of the soccer or the dance class, of just finding that balance better now that she's older. But I think as she was younger, especially in the newborn stages, it was very difficult to be a full-time mother and a full-time worker, because it was like stretching yourself. You felt like you were always stretching yourself. The second challenge, I would say, is just being able to be present at all times for everyone, and including yourself.
Tell
I
me
think
about it. Tell me about it.
one thing that I've learned lately is to put in self-care time and
Wow.
making sure that I put time for myself. That means either, booking a pedicure, manicure for myself, and just being able to unplug when is necessary, because it's so easy wearing all these hats to just go, go, go and never know when to stop. So that's been challenging, but I've been able to kind of find that, again, place of, okay, now it's time for self-care. It's time for Kerline to do something for
Mm.
herself. And again, you shouldn't feel guilty about self-care. I know a lot of times people feel guilty
Yeah,
about,
they do.
stepping away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that would be my second challenge. And then just the third challenge would just be, again, wearing the multiple hats of being a wife, and also having, again, work, and being a daughter, being a friend. So just
Mm.
being there for everyone that you love, and also balancing out, the ministry and the full-time job. So day to day, I feel like there's always a challenge, but it's how I go into it. It's how I use it as not a barrier, but as a access to doing better, and as a better way to leverage, how can I change this? How can I make it more feasible for myself? And so I would say those are the things that are challenging, but I've definitely gotten better over time.
I like it. I like it. And thank you for sharing. Definitely, we appreciate you being here and then telling us about your challenges. But I will go with you with this question. Yes, we have challenges, but what kept you motivated? What kept you going? I know you
Yeah.
said you talk about self care, which
Yeah.
is great, and we're gonna go a little bit deeper on it. But what kept you going?
Yeah, I would say what really keeps me going is having that time to talk to my girls, having that time to be transparent and saying, today is not a good day, and that's okay. I think that's the biggest thing, is just being real with yourself, being real with those who are around you. And so I've learned to, when I'm not okay, or my times of I'm just tired, it's just being real and saying I need to unplug, and knowing when it's time to take a step back. And again, it's okay. I got here. It took a while to get here, but I got here, and I love where I'm at, where I'm okay to unplug. I'm okay to step away when it feels overwhelming.
You said don't feel guilty to take some time off for yourself. So,
Yeah.
can you elaborate?
Yeah, so I think again, becoming a mom about 5 years ago, I felt guilty leaving my daughter. I felt guilty
Yeah.
going away to say, "Hey, I'm gonna go out with my girls for brunch." I felt guilty even, taking a walk, because I felt like I always needed to be there. I felt like I couldn't leave her. But then over time, as she grew older, I knew that it was necessary. It wasn't just necessary for her, but it was necessary for me to take that time for myself, because I can't be 100% myself for her and for my family if
Yes.
I don't have that time to recharge. If
Yeah.
I don't have that time to say, let me go spend time with some friends that I haven't seen in a while. It's necessary to have that time, be able to, so you can come back and fully give your all, because you're going to run dry of just running, running, running and giving everybody else. But then your cup is empty because of all the giving that you've been
Given.
doing.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've
Let-
learned a lot.
No, and let's talk about hobbies because I feel like parents nowadays we don't hear this. We don't hear this term,
Yeah.
right? We don't
Yeah.
hear about hobbies. Do you have any, and or do you manage that?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. And I would agree 100% that as parents, you don't really have hobbies anymore. Your kids' lives of their sports,
Yeah.
their sports become your hobby kind of just being there. I would say my hobby, which I'm trying to do better at, is going to the gym, of just
Okay.
working out. I used to play soccer, which I still love soccer. My daughter actually plays soccer
What?
now.
Really? What
Yeah.
position?
I ended up playing every position in high school by the time
Wow.
I graduated, and I was even a goalie as short as I am.
That's good.
So I would say that is one of the sports that I would love to go back to. But right now, it's just really finding time to go to the gym.
So let's go on childhood memories. Can you share a few childhood memories with us today?
Yeah, so my mom is out of 12. And so we
Yeah.
always had a lot of cousins around. We always had family events all the time. And so my childhood was very based on family. And till this day, anyone that knows me know that I love my family. I love being around with them and spending time with them. And so childhood was just embracing that time and being able to enjoy my cousins in a
Yes.
way that now we're older, we all have, most of us all have kids, and so it's interesting to see how we're adults now with our own kids and being able to allow them to spend that time too.
Yeah.
Because again, family is number one. It's so important to me. It's a place that I really feel like everyone needs to have the ability to just be yourself and be a kid again. And so my childhood was really being around a lot of cousins that I love very, very much.
And I appreciate your answer because this kind of feed to this question I will ask you. How important are those memories for you looking back, and do you keep them or do you try to repeat them or do you try to renew them with new skill or new culture or new technique in terms of like what exactly do you do, or do you keep it as a core the same way you had it from your childhood memory?
Yeah, so I would say I kept most of them. A lot of the childhood memories were really good memories. There are some things that I had to unlearn, and
Yeah.
that's okay. And that's okay because as becoming a mom, there's things that I definitely wanted her to learn, and there's things that I'm saying to myself where I don't want her to learn the same things. And that's again our perspective of it. But a lot of the childhood memories of the traditional recipes and just being around her cousins as well. Now she has a lot of cousins her age, so
Yeah.
that's the beautiful thing that I feel like a lot of my cousins, we were kind of close in age, but her having literally cousins a year apart, I think she's able to grow with them even closer than I was. And
Mm.
so those are the memories that I'm definitely trying to have her have as well, as she's growing up, and some of them live so close. I didn't have as many cousins that live as close, but she has literally all of them around, just 30 minutes away. So having that time with her to spend time with her cousins, I think as she gets older, she'll enjoy it as well.
So you mentioned you play soccer, and
Yes.
I coach soccer too. By
Oh,
the way,
wow.
yeah, I coach soccer. But what got you into soccer?
Um, so in middle school, I played, in eighth grade, I played soccer. And so I just wanted to find something that I loved. I was just going to school like throughout, elementary. And then in middle
Yeah.
school, I said, let me join a sport. And soccer was the
Mm.
first sport that I joined, and I fell in love with it right away. And then I played all through high school, and then I was going to play in college. But as much as I got hurt
Yeah.
in high school, I didn't want to break a leg in college because I know it's going to be way more intense
Competitive. Yeah.
and competitive. And so I said, let me just focus on my studies and yeah, just go straight to college. But I didn't play in college, which sometimes I'm like, what if I did,
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved
But
it.
what was so that's a question that I have. People when I ask them, they really smile. They really go back in their past to kind of find the right answer. What was your dream job in high school, college and now?
Yeah, that's another great question. So in college and in high school, I always wanted to work in a big building. So my mom used to take us to downtown a lot of times on weekends. We'd go to downtown, go shopping. And
Yeah.
so I'd always see these big buildings. And I was like, I want to be a businesswoman one day. I want to work in one of these big buildings one day. But I just
Yeah.
knew that I wanted to be in the business field. I didn't know exactly what that would look like, but
Yeah.
I always knew I wanted to work in the business field. And then I did. I went to school at UMass Boston and I
Yeah.
graduated with business management and I concentrated in finance. And so, yeah, I really just wanted to have that avenue of learning more about business, especially management. I wanted to become a manager one day. I
Yeah.
wanted to own my own business. So those are a lot of things that inspired me to go into the business field.
So, and I'm glad you said that you had those dreams, but now how did those dreams change or mold the person you are now
Yeah.
today? How
Yes.
did they help you get to where you are now today?
Yeah, so they molded me. Like a lot of the experiences that I went through have made me the woman that I am today. Through the experiences of coworkers, of learning from
Mm,
them,
yeah.
the experiences of different managers. I was an EA for a while, so I
Mm,
learned the different techniques of what managers wanted, what they didn't want to work, how they worked. I learned a lot of different, even barriers, how to go around different barriers that as a young professional, I feel like a lot of
yeah.
times people may not take you as seriously as you come into the room, but a lot of times me just being able to speak, me being able to show my work, it was more than, hey, she's just a young professional, but she actually knows what she's doing. And so I would say it's really molded me and shaped me to one, speak up more,
Yeah.
and also to not be afraid of, just because
Okay.
you're younger than most people at the table,
Yeah.
that you should also present your work and not be
Mm.
afraid to speak up. So
So, what is one piece of advice you will give somebody or someone who's starting the career right now?
I would say go with it with your eyes straight on the prize. Do not look back, look forward, go with it with your whole heart and
Mm.
give it your all.
Great advice. But now, what is one thing you wish you knew before you started your career?
There's a lot. I would say before I started my career, just knowing the right people.
Yeah,
I was always,
networking.
yeah, just networking. I think that was the biggest thing. If I knew to network early on, then I feel like I would have been connected even more with the right people. So just being able to network more, not being afraid to say, hey, can you help me? I have a question, or
Yeah.
how do I do this? And so those are the things that I would say definitely early on in my career, I would have networked a lot more.
And no, that's those are great question, great answers. And so, which of your accomplishment are you the proudest?
Wow. I would just say graduating college. I think college is
You
very
preaching,
difficult.
preaching.
I would just say that would be my biggest accomplishment till this day, just
Yeah.
graduating college, because I took the road less taken. A lot of times, a lot of students, you'll hear they'll start the
Yeah.
career. I mean, the path of going into getting a degree and then they won't finish, either
Mm,
because financially or even family situations might come up. And so, even though it took me a little bit longer, but I never gave up
okay.
to get my degree. And so when I crossed that stage, I'll never forget the joy that I felt of being able to get that degree.
So, what was the process to, because college, choosing college is a big process. For some people, they have the great support, but I had guests saying they were the first to go to college in their family. I don't know what's the case for you, but what was the process?
Yeah, so I'm actually the baby in the family. I have older sister. She was the first to go to college. So I, followed the footsteps of going to college as well. My process was a little different. The only reason why I say that is because I ended up getting my associate's degree first. So I went to Massasoit Community College for 2 years, got my business administration degree there, and then transferred over to UMass Boston, and then
Okay.
got my bachelor's degree. So it took a little longer because of the transferring. But again, I could have just stopped at my associates and
Yeah.
said, that's it, I'm good. But I continued going, and it was not a easy time because I was literally taking courses during the summer while everyone was out. I was in school.
Yeah.
But that's why it meant so much to graduate and to be able to achieve such a great accomplishment in life.
And I think I relate to what you're saying because that was my case too. There was no summer for me. I was always taking classes before I graduated. So let's think about this way. You said that this is very important for you to accomplish, like to get your bachelor degree. But how important is success for you?
So success is very important. I feel like it's not as important as life. You have to live to really be successful.
Yeah.
I'm learning to take it one step at a time, literally one day at a time. And that's how I will be successful. So connecting to the right people, putting myself out there, not being afraid, taking a chance on myself, and really speaking the truth. I think that's the biggest part
Yeah.
of being successful. It's not just all the degrees you have. It's not just, knowing the highest ranked person, the CEOs or the CFOs, but it's really putting yourself out there and making the best you can, being the best person that you can each and every day and showing up. So.
And that's an interesting answer because you said success shouldn't be more than life. But with COVID, did you have to adjust yourself, adjust your life, adjust your family? Can you take us to the adjustment you have to make?
Yeah, COVID was a huge adjustment. My daughter was about 3 years old around that time. And so just being, again, a full-time mom, a teacher, I was teaching her. I didn't let her just, sit around and watch TV all
Yeah.
day. A lot of my friends were impressed because I was that mother that had boards, I had books, I had cards, flashcards. I was really being her teacher because I wanted her to continue learning, even
Yes.
though, schools were closed. And so it was an adjustment for us all to balance still working from home and seeing each other every single day.
Yeah.
I think for me and my husband, we were together for a long time, but being in a household where you didn't have anywhere else to go, you didn't have time to say,
I
oh,
know.
let me just step out and come back. It was an adjustment of just being able to still give each other space, but still giving each other time to grow. And so I think, again, COVID for us, it was not a difficult time. It was just more of a time of embracing and learning.
Embracing, yeah.
Yeah, of learning more about each other. And so yeah, we got through it. Thank goodness we got through it. So yeah, it was a challenging time, I would say, because more of our daughter being home, of
Yeah.
not having that school, being able to go to school and stuff. But it was okay. We got through it.
So you probably hear that when they say, "Oh, leave work at work," right? So when do you
Yes.
leave work when you at home?
I
So
know.
yeah, so we have a guest. He said he worked home, and this adjustment alone was a big problem because a challenge to say because they couldn't separate work because work was at home, and as flexible it is when you work at home, but there's other things you have to manage. So did you encounter any challenge working from home? I know you just mentioned a few, but is there anything you can add to that?
Yeah, those are just the challenges that I would say we really faced. It is hard to work from home, especially full time, I would say, and still, try to balance the other things that you have going on.
Yeah.
I think for us, we were able to say, okay, if it's 5:30, we try to really log off and have that work-life balance, because if you keep working, it can be 8 o'clock and you forget, hey, I didn't even start dinner yet. So just finding that balance was very important for us all.
I have somebody I know. He said he worked 80 hours a week.
Wow.
For a year.
Wow.
He was working home, but he kind of clock in from like 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day. Yeah, so he had to do it for his family, because at the end of the day, the sacrifice we make for our family, we cannot compare to what somebody are enduring. So, what's the best compliment you ever gotten?
I would just say people always say that I speak my mind.
Yeah.
Which is just me being more transparent now. I feel like before, the old Kerline was more afraid to speak up in a room. But now when I'm at a table and when I'm in the environment, I'm able to really not be afraid to just speak my mind and to just, again, speak the truth of how I feel.
Yeah.
And just in a transparent way. So.
Yeah, because we think that, and like I said, I learned so much from the guests we have here on Divine Purpose Podcast. And one thing they were talking, which is tied to imposter syndrome, where people feel like they don't belong, they don't have the skill necessary for their job. What is the most important lesson you have learned over your career so far?
I would say just being able to be yourself. I think a lot of times, especially being a woman of color, there were times that I was afraid to be myself. There were times that I was afraid to show up as myself. And so just being able to learn that it's okay. It's okay to show up as Kerline. There's people that's going to like it and there's people that's not going to like it. And at the end of the day, you just know that you're being true to yourself. And so imposter syndrome is real. Yeah. I dealt with that. There were times that I didn't even feel worthy of being in a room. I was like, oh my goodness, I shouldn't even be here. Yeah. But over time, I've been able to learn that there's a reason why you're here. There's a purpose behind why you're here. And so that's helped me really understand, just be you. Just be you and speak the truth and come as you are. That's all.
So let's take a moment to kind of dive a little bit deep. This is not hot topic yet, but I feel like I should ask this question. So who is Kerline? Who is Kerline? Like, and I have a follow-up question after that, but in your own words, who is Kerline?
I would say, in my own words, she is a hardworking woman. When she loves, which is like her family and her friends. I have such a great relationship with them all. She is motivated. She's determined. And she will literally try to get an answer in everything that she possibly can. Until she gets it, she will not stop. So she's definitely a hardworking, and sometimes goes above and beyond, I would say. But yeah, I would say I'm definitely one of those people that just give it my all. I just give it my all.
What do people misunderstand about you most?
I'm not sure. That's a good question too. But I would just say, until they get to know me, sometimes, they may not, right off the back, they might think I'm a shy person, or I just don't come off right off the back as a talkative person. But once you get to know me, I'm very friendly. I love to get to know people. And yeah, that's something that I really enjoy learning and getting to know new people all the time.
All right, that's right on time for our break. Kerline, we appreciate you, and we'll be back. Let's go with It Core.
Did you know that Hitcore Fitness is now an SBA-approved franchisor? Now it's your opportunity to be part of a thriving business with multiple revenue streams. HIT and core strength group fitness classes, personal training and small group training, weight loss program and corporate wellness program, and much more. Crush your competition with higher than average member retention and get your return on investment in under 3 years. We'll see you at the gym.
Yes, this is Eddy Dacius. We're here with Kerline on Divine Purpose Podcast. This is our episode. We had a great time so far, and we're gonna continue our line of questions for Kerline. So, Kerline, this is where I usually ask this question about where when did you realize you had all the accolade, all the skills? Like when did you arrive? When did you feel like, oh, Kerline just arrived? If there's a moment you feel like you didn't have any fear, you embrace your calling, and then you go crash the job, do it to your best ability. Did you had any time, any moment where you feel like this is Kerline now?
Yeah, I would say that moment happened when I came into the DE&I space.
Mm,
I was a EA again for like 7 years, 7 to 8 years. And I was always there, but I wasn't fulfilling, I feel like, my purpose. I feel
yeah.
like I didn't know exactly what was next, but I knew there was something else out there for me to be doing. And so when I came into the D&I space, I really felt like this is where I belong.
Mm,
And this is where I can see my career just growing and learning so much within this industry. And so that's where I would say I was like, this is where Kerline really belongs. And I'm just striving even now. I've been in the position for about a year now. And so even in the past almost year, I feel like I've learned so much and I've done a lot of things that I'm like, wow, I would have never thought that in a million years.
yeah.
But again, that's where I feel like my skills and everything that I learned, even in the past, all just came together. So yeah.
I asked that question on one of our guests, and she was saying, no, you shouldn't feel imposter syndrome, and you shouldn't even tell yourself about that. But my question is it related to black women mostly, or is it every woman that might feel? Oh, I'm talking about men too.
Mhm.
I have like I said, the person was a woman. She's a successful woman, but she the way she answered, which is that's her answer. But what I was asking mostly was if she had any situation anywhere she felt like she didn't belong. And now I'm going to you, and like you admit, and I have a lot of people admit too,
Mhm.
where they didn't feel comfortable. They have to grow. They have to get that confidence out and to embrace their calling.
Yeah. So I would say as a woman of color,
Yeah,
it's definitely, I feel like it's more no, like you feel it more
yeah,
than any other culture, like a person. Woman of color, I feel like you really feel it because of one, you're a woman, two, you're a woman of color. You have double, I feel like, that anxiety and mindset
Yeah.
that because you come into a room, usually there's already a lot of men in the room. So you're thinking they're superior than you already. And then you have Caucasian women. So already your mindset is not thinking I'm capable, I'm able to be in this room
Okay.
because of those barriers that you always, sought to see, and
Yeah.
you've never had the opportunity to say or even see a lot of times a woman of color be a CEO. Now we see that a lot more, but
Yes.
before, I would say growing up, in high school or middle school, we weren't around to really understand the possibility of a woman of
Yes.
color being a CEO, a CFO.
Yep.
And so I think now, growing up, as more people are seeing diverse, especially women of color, at these positions, that is so amazing to see and inspiring to see. And so I think imposter syndrome is so real. It's so real, especially for women of color.
So, as a mother, teacher, you
Yeah.
have a daughter. What's the lesson? What's the message? What's the teaching to equip them for what's coming, or for them when they gonna be? Because I have a daughter too, so she's two. So I always ask that question: how do we equip them for the right confidence? What in your mind should be something we do as parents to kind of motivate them, give them more confidence?
Yeah. So with my daughter, I actually do this with her on a daily basis. I remind her who she is. So that is giving her affirmations that she's beautiful, that she's smart,
Mm,
that she is brave, and that she can do whatever she put her mind to. And so literally she will repeat that: I'm smart, I'm brave, and I'm beautiful, and I can do whatever I put my mind to. And so as she's growing up, even at the age of 5, that confidence is building
yeah,
something for later on. And so I'm hoping that she will keep it. She will remember, no matter where she goes and no matter what anyone says, that she is beautiful, she's smart, and she's brave, and she could do whatever she put her mind to.
wow, great answer, Caroline. Really appreciate it. Thank you. So let's go to hot topic. Hot topic is a segment where we ask questions that's related to your career. Question our audience doesn't usually have a chance to ask people in your position. All right, let's go with hot topic. So this is like, I don't know if it's a trend, but I see it everywhere. DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion.
Mhm.
What is it?
So it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. I would say a lot of companies are kind of looking at it differently. Not every company, I would say, look at it the same way. But DNI, it's essentially diversity, equity, inclusion, like you said. It's making sure you have diverse candidates. It's making sure it's inclusive.
Yeah,
And equity is just making sure there's equal opportunities.
yeah.
And again, a lot of companies define that kind of differently. So that's how I look at it, and that's how our company does definitely look at it.
And to be honest, I see it everywhere, and it feel like that's a trend. Now, what's the future for companies now? Like, I know this DNI is helping company to be more diverse, but in your opinion, what's the future and what's the benefits?
Yeah, so I think the future is seeing more people that look like you,
Yeah,
especially people of color, in the companies, and not just in entry level positions, but in higher rank positions like senior managers, executives, and so on and so forth. And not just keeping them at the, again, entry level barriers, but
Yeah.
opening up those doors for them. And I also see that it's going to give access to a lot more young professionals to really
Okay.
go after their careers and not being, kind of timid of doing the extra test that they need to take to become a manager, or, just the extra education or something like that they need, the accolades to become a senior manager, and just going forth of seeing other people ahead of them that did it before. I think that's the future of just being able to have a broader understanding that people of color is coming. They're coming. They're going to be in all these spaces, not just the low levels, the other positions, but they're going to be in high rank positions as well.
Yeah, and this question is mostly for you because you used to play soccer. So I watch the Premier League soccer, and I never seen a black referee.
Yeah.
And I've been doing some research on that, and I cannot recall one game I watch or highlights I see a black referee. So is because that's what I'm saying. Is everybody entitled to DEI, or is it some organization that say, okay, I will do that, or is it something that mandatory for every company?
Yeah, so I would say it's not mandatory for
Okay.
every company. I would say after 2020, I feel like, honestly, after the George Floyd situation occurred, that's when a
Yeah.
lot of companies kind of went back to the drawing board and said, hey, we don't have DE&I here. How can we implement this? And so that's when a lot of the positions of D&I really started. They had it in some companies, but still it wasn't as many. Now you turn left
Yeah,
or right,
yeah.
you see D&I everywhere, and everyone's like, what's D&I? What's D&I? And
Yeah.
so I think it's a lot that stemmed from that situation that really made companies say, hey, we need to have this here. And now, yes, a lot of companies are trying to make it like a mandatory training or a mandatory position to kind of have. But I don't know if you've heard, they've actually, a lot of companies laid off a lot of D&I positions in the past couple of months, because again, those were the companies I feel like that were kind of checking off that box to
Yeah.
say, hey, we did this, now we're done. And unfortunately, that's the cause of a lot of not really looking why we need this. What's the real reason why we need this? What's the importance of having DE&I,
Yep.
especially in a company? And so, we'll see what the future really holds if we continue down this path.
I know you have your DNI certificate. So what got you to go and get the certificate?
Yeah, so right when I got the position, again, it was new to me. I wanted to learn more right off the bat. I wanted to just get some type of background, more information about what D&I was. I've always heard about it, but I was never really engaged too much into it. And so
Yeah.
once I got the certificate, that class was about 8 weeks class that I took at Bentley University. And it was so life-changing. I learned so much from the students and the professors. And again, it just opened up my eyes to, there's a lot of bias, and even myself, I wasn't knowingly able to understand there's things that I needed to change about myself.
Okay.
And so that class just opened up my eyes in so many different ways that I took so much from it.
So as a black professionals, how should we look at a company we apply for, in your
Yes.
opinion?
Yes, good question. I would say definitely do your research about the company. Get to know the team that you're going to work with. Even when you're going into the interviews, ask the right questions. What's their intention? And also, what are things that they're doing as a company to have DE&I? What are the things that they're implementing to have their employees learn more, and actually promoting their employees, not just not just some of their employees, but all of their employees. What is the promotion rate? What is the, again, retention rate? And those are the important questions, because if you're in a position for like 3-4 years and you haven't seen any growth and you haven't seen any promotion happening, then it's time to kind of say, okay, it's time to look for something else, because you can't stay stagnant, you can't stay complacent. And I truly believe that when you're in a company, you should be able to grow, you should be able to get promoted within a few years within being in that position.
But it's great answers, Kerline, and I know people know you talking with knowledge, but this is where I feel like, because you might be in a position you really wanted that position, and then when you get to the job, they put you in a box.
Yeah.
You can't move. It's right there. So, and when you started to kind of talking about things that should happen, they call you names, angry man, angry black man. So,
Yeah.
what's the resources for somebody in that position? What should they do, or what can you advise them?
Yeah, I would say always have a mentor. A mentor either within the workplace, that you have someone that you can learn what they're doing. You can also speak to them candidly.
Yeah.
And also even having a mentor outside of work. I have a mentor outside of work and she's amazing. I'm learning so
Okay.
much from her. And I would say those are the type of resources that can really help, of speaking to your mentor. And if you do have a great relationship with your manager, which I really hope a lot of people have that,
Yeah.
and that is another great way of just saying, hey, this is how I feel, and I just want to be, transparent about it. I don't want to, be here and being unhappy, because no one wants to be unhappy at work.
No.
So I think having those two resources of having a manager that you can speak to, and also having even a mentor that you can confide in and speak about your situation.
Wow. You didn't even sweat. You just answer those questions left and right, which is great. Which is good. So, is there like a checkbox for great companies? We've great D&I like program, or is there like everybody do their own? Is there like a template? So if a company, so let me ask this: can you spot a company who is intentional about it or not?
Yeah, so I can't spot a company, to be honest, because there's so many companies that are doing DE&I right
Yeah,
now. I would say there's not a straight template. I feel like a lot of companies are doing kind of their own thing, what works for them, because
yeah,
some companies are smaller. Let's say you have a 300 employee off, like an office of only 300 employees. So your DNI might look different from someone that has a company that is 1,000 employees. So
yeah,
that's why I would say every company is kind of doing something different. But I think at the end of the day, they're trying to come out with the same success.
yeah.
But yeah, there's not a real template to say this is what we're doing and this is how it has to go. So yeah, everyone's learning as we continue to grasp this and continue to enhance DNI.
Wow, that was amazing. I like it. I like all the answers, and I appreciate you being here. So we got to our closing segment. It's usually the fun one. Any favorite travel destination you can share with our audience?
Yeah, so Jamaica is one of my
Ooh,
favorite places. We got married in Jamaica almost 8 years ago.
wow,
So
that's
yeah.
nice.
So Jamaica, I would definitely say, is one of my
Wagon,
favorites.
wagon. I've been to Jamaica too. It was nice. We had a great time.
Yeah.
Favorite food?
Favorite food. I love some Haitian food. So I would say
Yeah.
that
Which
would
one?
be, I have a lot, but I would say my white rice, black beans, and legume is my
Oh
favorite.
man, no, legume is. I think legume is the
It's the best.
best dish in the world.
It is.
That's my opinion. I'm biased. I'm Asian, but I'm biased. Any book you will recommend to our audience?
I would say Michelle Obama's book
Okay.
is amazing. Becoming, as you can see, even on my social media platform, becoming is actually the background of what I say, because I feel like I'm truly becoming each and every day the woman that I'm called to be. And so
Yeah.
that's been my motto, is just I'm becoming.
Great, great. So is there a question that you wish I asked you today?
No, I think you asked all the questions that I was able and wanted to answer.
All right, and appreciate it. So this is Eddy Dacius with Kerline today. She really did a great job talking about her experience. Kerline, last word for you.
No, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this, and yeah, it was great.
All right, so this is Eddy Dacius with Divine Purpose Podcast. We're here for a great episode. Stay tuned. Check us. Subscribe to this channel on YouTube, and you can listen to our podcast on audio, Apple Podcast, Podbean, anywhere you take your time to listen to a podcast. Like I said, we had a great time with Kerline today. Kerline, thank you.
Thank you.